Hello and welcome back to mymetaverseminute.com, your place for the latest news, views and opinions from the metaverse. Now today's episode is brought to you by Cloud Wars Expo, running June 28th to 30th at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. I will be there, leading tracks and sessions alongside Bob Evans, founder of Cloud Wars, and the rest of my Acceleration Economy analyst colleagues. You can join me there, just head to cloudwarsexpo.com to find out more.
Join thousands of CXOs June 28th to 30th in San Francisco, California at Cloud Wars Expo as we explore a new metric called the time to dazzle, exclusively focused on how long it takes to dazzle customers with new business models that are enabled by the cloud, empowered by AI, and optimized with human ingenuity. Register today at cloudwarsexpo.com and join a movement to make dazzling customers the metric that matters.
In today's episode, I want to look into the prospect of hyper-real avatars and what that may mean for the future of the metaverse, and particularly the future of people's safety within the metaverse. As I'm sure you're all aware, there's been a big issue with deep fake technology over recent years. It's popped up in many elections around the world, particularly in the US, and it's been something that's plagued social media platforms like Facebook. But this kind of hyper-real representation, this kind of deep fake representational avatars that we're talking about here, can also exist within metaverse spaces. In fact, very recently, one company, Metaphysic, have announced that they will be releasing not deep fake technology, but hyper-real avatar technology for the masses. They recently raised 7.5 million from investors. And it looks as though this will be going ahead, and very soon any user will be able to create a hyper-real representation of their own face. Now, one interesting concept that's come up about this, of course, if deep faking is possible outside of the metaverse, as it very much is, within the metaverse it's going to be even more damaging. People can effectively take control of someone else's identity by looking exactly like them. They can use deep fake technology for their voices as well, to have voice matching. And this could prove, there are an all number of ways that this could prove disastrous. However, interestingly, one notion that's come up is the idea of creating an NFT of your likeness. So it's the idea that if you created an image of yourself, you could use an NFT to make sure that nobody else could use that image. Now, this is a fantastic idea, but what it also opens up is the idea that if you don't have an NFT, if you haven't invested in an NFT that relates to your own image, then do you own your image? Do you own the data that's connected with what you look like in real life? And the answer is no, which I think is very dangerous, because it means that essentially if this technology that creates hyperreal avatars, because as we know at the moment, avatars very much kind of blocky, often cartoon-like representations of real people and far from a physical likeness. But if it's possible to create these physical likenesses, both in voice, in mannerism, and in look, and you can't claim ownership of that unless you own the NFT or own the rights to that data, then where does that leave people? Does it just leave the gates open to anybody adopting anybody else's look and personality, whatever, and going into spaces on the metaverse and perhaps committing crimes, perhaps inducing other users to join them in other spaces that they may not wish to do if they hadn't believed it was the person that they were talking to. Now, it does create, like we've talked a lot, as I said, about governance, but this is a very, very interesting idea, because at the moment we're taking for granted the fact that the metaverse, the avatars are almost game-like. But what happens when avatars become essentially real in a virtual sense? This is something that needs to be looked at. It needs to be, I think there should be some kind of mechanisms in place that maybe prohibit users from using this kind of real likeness unless they have an NFT attached. And perhaps if you're going to use a service that creates a hyperreal avatar, it should come with an NFT, free of charge, to ensure that you own that data. Anyway, until next time, stay tuned and stay curious.